Well, I guess I should finish this corner off. I've got my camera sitting here just to see how much my hand is going to get in the way. And maybe it provides a little bit of variety from my usual over the left shoulder view. And is that too dark? Actually, you know what? It is kind of dark, but it's not too dark for here. Oh, where should I end that rock? Let's end it something like that. I don't think that's maybe that's an okay to have. Maybe that's an okay place to have the water meet the shore. All right, maybe a little more light there. Too dark. Yeah, okay. Let's just stay with that. Okay, I just redefined this line, or actually I guess it's the first time I defined it very strongly as far as indicating exactly where that rock was. So I'm just cleaning this up a little bit. And all right. And this dark I'm going to leave till later. Now let's put some of this dark paint in here. This is at a very gradual angle. So we're still going to have a little bit of light. I'm going to indicate a bit of light just hinting over here. As we get into here, there'll be a little more of a dramatic change, and it'll be a little darker. So let's just start, instead of at the top, we'll start at the bottom. I'm not too worried about keeping that line very strong. Not yet, anyway. You know, the line between here and here, that'll change as we go up. In fact, I think I already... I blurred it out a little too much. I would like more of a difference. Yeah. I'll strengthen that again. Okay, let's not get too fussy about that. Let's go straight down. I'm not going to worry about this little line just yet. So we just feather that and not worry about it. Okay, now that's a little light, but let's make a strong differentiation between this and this. All right. Okay. So I've been using yellow ochre to bring my lights in here with just a bit of white. I'm going to start using a little more blue. You know, as I mentioned earlier, I'm really mostly going to just cool the colors off rather than worrying about just relying on value. Value will definitely be part of it, there's no question. Okay. More blue, ultramarine, no, more ultramarine blue. And red sienna. Because even though I'm bluer, you know, and this is sort of a green theme, greenish, really more of a yellow ochre theme. I'm probably even going to put hints of purple in here because this is just the shady side of this, even though it's sort of the same excuse me, ground cover that's on there. And if I go too blue here, it's just going to look like, well, okay, this is grass and lichen and moss, and what's this over here? You know, it has to be, it's just got to be neighborly. So we're heavy on the burnt sienna. And less blue now. But we gotta watch it because that burnt sienna, that will go very strong very quickly. See, add a little white to it and it's already too strong. So let's introduce a little yellow ochre so that it's gradual. I'm also going to add a hint of alizarin crimson. Okay, now ultramarine blue and alizarin crimson. Introducing some purple. To the, according to sort of the old Impressionist school, if you were to have this warm yellow on one side and you go to the shady side, you kind of run around the color wheel a little bit and you end up into your blues and your purples. So we're following a bit of that theory at the moment. It doesn't work completely, but it sure has its merits, I can tell you. Let me tell you. That's a terrible thing about me being Dutch. I always want to tell everybody something instead of listening. Okay, I think we're heading in the right direction there. Yep. I think we're doing the right thing. And we're keeping our color varieties pretty rich. Yep. So while I've been painting this whole time, what I had in my mind was warm greens. And really, I guess because of the other colors I have on the canvas already, I've ended up with more yellows, and sort of reddish browns. Fine by me. I mainly wanted it to be warm with a splash of sun. But again, because of that, I talked about going with a bluish green in the background and cooling things off. That's only if this appeared to be too green. To me now it doesn't. I go to bluish greens or to cold greens and I end up very close to some of the colors here. So I got that out of my head and I'm just going to use variations of purple. Bluish in places, reddish in places, a little bit of yellow ochre to marry it, from this side to that side. But I'm just going to stick with that. I'm much happier with that. Again, that's the Impressionist school of thinking, really. So, I'll continue with that. Am I recording? Yes, I am. Okay. Okay, I've been using a little bit of cobalt blue. I think I'm going to stick with the ultramarine blue, though, right now. Yeah, it's okay. That's another, yet another time where it was good to back up, and not just for a moment this time, but for 20 minutes, and then come back and revisit the painting. And not just back up, but actually leave the room, get away from the painting for a little bit. And I'm glad I did, because I think I'm seeing things a little more clearly now. Can go into it with a little more confidence. Another example of me planning something, and yeah, it just it doesn't happen. My plan just doesn't work, and that's okay. You got to be pliable. And if your plan isn't working out, you've got to be willing to change it. Or I do. Okay. Oops. I don't know where that white came from. Which is nothing new for me. I'm just killing this color here a little bit. It's a little on the strong side. No. Now, I'm going to warm this up even a little bit more, I think. I think, yes, I do. I may not think clearly, but I do at least think. Let's just blur this line a little bit here. I don't want a strong one running off the canvas at that point. Now I'm getting quite thick with my paint here, which, as a principle isn't bad, but you won't find it that thick anywhere else in the painting. So in the interests of staying true to the technique, I'll try to avoid getting too strong. Okay. How about that? Almost a very gentle transition. Oh, excuse me. And as we move up this ridge, the transition becomes stronger until it becomes quite strong. In this area. I think I like that. I think I can work with that. All right. Now I'm seeing this area, and our top is kind of gentle, a bit dark. Good. That's what I wanted. It's exactly what I wanted. But I think I'm going to take a bit of intensity and introduce it here. Just a few strokes. I don't want to draw too much attention here, because the idea is that we have, this is interesting but dark, right? More or less. And we come over to the left, and I'm so tempted to put some of these colors. You know what? You can't even see that because I'm pointing to areas that are off of the canvas. So let me just move this over a moment. Okay, that should work. I'm so tempted to take some of these colors and move them way over here. I may still do that. But here's the thing. The plan for these rocks is that they're going to catch a lot of light on the sunny side. And I think just the high values that'll be here will be enough to carry the interest from this area over to the left off the painting. And then with a few ripples in the water, yeah, you know, or a few ripples rather, the design of the water, I think we might end up being just fine. I'm also, that's for later, I'm not going to worry about that right now. But I'm also looking at this, let me just, sorry about the noise here and the jiggling. I'm also still contemplating putting a little bit of, let's see, some of maybe this color on this bit of land that's behind here. Just to pick up the values, you know, just again to avoid all low values here. But I'm going to have another think about that before I jump into it. I'll touch my toe into the, or put my toe in the water before I actually jump in with both feet. Well, I was really thinking of keeping this dark, but it needs a lift. So I'm going to bring in some lighter color here. I don't want to get too bright. I'm going to go with yellow ochre. Yeah. And a bit of, ultramarine blue, and just such a little hint of burnt sienna as well. I think we'll do that. I think that'll work very well, actually. We'll keep that line fairly crisp along there. I don't need that tiny little divot to be so light. Okay. A little more paint. Okay, come on, canvas. Pick that paint up. so tempted, in a small area like that to just mix more paint, mix more paint. Oh, I haven't quite got that covered, I'll just do a little bit of this, and a little bit of that, and make sure that that whole spot is covered. And that again is while my face is 2 feet or 18 inches away from the canvas. So after I've got that very solidly covered and I'm happy with it, and I stand up and back up, I realize that all of these areas, even here, every spot is not covered. So what I would end up with is a very flat, overpainted, dead spot that's drawing too much attention to itself. So I'm going to stop with that. A few strokes and we'll take care of that tree, but I think that's a good idea. I think so, but I'm going to stand up and back up and look and say, yeah, that was a wise decision. So here's something I need to address. I really like this shape here. I like this rock, and I like this tree. The placement is atrocious. I don't see any way of getting away with having these lined up like this. So I know this rock is going to be quite light here, right? And that sliver of light is going to carry on to here, but it'll be narrower as we go in that direction. So this point is lined up with this point, is lined up with here. This pulls it to the left. I mean, the focus pulls it to the left. So I think what we need to do is stagger that by taking this interesting little shape, unfortunately, and moving the focus to the right. And we'll simply do away with it. I hate doing things like that. It was like the happy accident was that nice little shape there. But it has to go. Alright, now I'm going to continue with that. I'm going to even give it a little bit of white. Whoops, that's too much. I think we're okay already, pretty much. Oh, I think I'm making a mistake now. Whoopsie. Because I'm moving the focus again to the left. Oh, sometimes it's frustrating. Using my brain, it just hurts too much. Anyway, it's a sacrifice that had to be made. So be it. But I'm going to just do this as well. Now we're going to tone it down a little bit of ultramarine blue and a little bit of raw umber. Alright, now see this line. I want that line to go as well. I'm not too fond of this tumbling down off of that hillside, so I'm going to weaken that, or just do away with it. And instead of a line, we'll just use some color. Yeah, I think that's a little bit better. And now I have this hump below this hump. It's this endless torture, eh? Okay. Go back to that yellow ochre from sienna. I think that I am getting to a point now in the day where I'm getting tired and I'm worrying too much about things that don't need worrying about. And I'm starting to make some mistakes. Oh, I'm enjoying myself painting, but I'm not sure I will enjoy the results of what I'm doing when I come to have a look at it later. I think this is okay, you know. Again, my face is only a couple of feet from it, or 18 inches or whatever. And it's easy to forget the impact these rocks are going to have, but they're going to have a big impact, you know. It's up to me how high the value is on the light catching these rocks. And realizing that, I should go, okay, that needs to be pushed back anyway. It doesn't have to be stronger. I think I fixed our little design anomaly for the most part here. You know, this is stacked over this rock, but it's no big deal. Really not a big deal. It's not like I have a tree sitting over a tree, you know, exactly, sort of thing. So, okay, stand up, back up, turn around, have a look. Oh yeah, that's going to be just fine. Okay. Yeah, we're still on the right track. I think we'll do just fine as we move along. Got some intensity in the closest areas. Good variety of strokes. Yeah, that's a little softer. That's good. We get to those rocks and we'll be able to make them pop. Not going to be a problem. Okay, see you soon. So one more thing before I release you from my torture chamber. It's about handling light. Handling paint in regards to how you're managing the light in your painting. In this painting, the thickest paint is, and this is only for the most part, it's not a strict rule, it's a guideline. It's a very helpful one. In this painting, the thickest paint is in more or less the lightest area. It sort of does this, okay? More or less. That's the thickest paint. In this part of the sky, the thickest paint is here. Just a bit in here. And a bit here. Catching light. In the focal area of the hill, the thickest paint is in this area. Earlier in the video, I was painting in this area and I was getting it wrong, and eventually I had to scrape paint off because it was becoming so buttery and so thick. The technique was visually inconsistent with the rest of the painting. You probably didn't see that on camera, but you would see it in person easily. So I scraped it off and redid it. So that's the thickest point. You know, this is smudged or blended more. This is blended. You know, edges are typically blended a little more. When I come to these rocks, there's going to be some strong light here and maybe a bit here. You know, and coming to the water as well. The thickest paint will be on the highlights on the water. Everything gets painted in as accurately as you can, minus a few degrees of value. On a value scale of 1 to 10, paint it up to an 8 maybe, or a 7 for a given area, or maybe only a 5. That is very malleable thinking. It really depends on the area that you're working on. But compared to the highest value, like these rocks, will be where the light catches it will be maybe an 8 or a 9 relative to the rest of the painting. The rocks in general are going to be sort of dark, you know, maybe a 4. Not sure yet, I'm just guessing. The highlights on the water, again, same thing. But that's where the thickest paint will be, and I reserve those light touches. I don't mean touching it lightly, I mean the touch of light will be the thickest paint in each case. Almost all the time, not 100% of the time, but almost. So, thick paint, thick paint, thick paint, thick paint, thick paint. Lay in your darks thinly if you can. It's going to be a great aid if you can to your painting, if you get used to the idea of laying in your darks very thinly and putting your light over your dark thicker. Oh, I should shut up now. I think this video is going to be horribly long. Horribly wrong? No, long.